Welcome to the IG. My name is Macky Hall, and isometric art has a place in design. Now, what about isometric type? How do you do it, and how do you do it in the various directions? Piece of cake, and it's time to learn by building this. We're just using the transform window and appearance. Using just these tools instead of 3D is way more functional and gives you a pile more options. Want to know the measurements? We got that too. And if you don't remember that, download the PDF. All right, you're seconds away from mastering this, so let's go. All right, let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new file. Our new file will have a width of 1,000 points, a height of 1,000 points, color mode of RGB. Yep, we're going to screen. Let's go ahead and create. All right, before we get started, let's go over a couple of things. First thing we want to mention is that we are using the Essentials Classic workspace. To use that workspace, all you need to do is go to the top right-hand corner of your screen, click on Switch Workspace, and select Essentials Classic. I like Essentials Classic because it gives me all the tools and windows I need for an efficient build. Use whatever workspace you need. We'll make sure that you are set and sorted along the way. Next thing I want to mention is that we are using Smart Guides. To activate Smart Guides, all you need to do is go to View, Smart Guides, or select Control U. Next thing I want to mention is that we're using the bottom center of your screen to highlight key command recommendations, hotkey recommendations, and tips and tricks. With that in mind, we are building this piece on a PC. So if you're using an Apple or Mac device, use the command key instead of control. Again, command equals control. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and start playing with our type. The first isometric type that we are going to design is going to be from the bottom left to the top right, and it's going to be upright. So the first thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and grab our type tool. Let's click anywhere on our artboard and let's write the word upright. Once we've got that keyed, let's go ahead and select all of our type. And let's go ahead and change the character style from Myriad Pro or whatever the basic type is to Piece Sans. Now, if you don't have Piece Sans as part of your type arsenal, no problem there. All you need to do is go to fontsquirrel.com and do a search for Piece. Otherwise, use the link right at the bottom here. Next thing I want to do, let's go ahead and size up our type from 12 points to 100 points. And then let's go ahead and make our type all caps. Easy way to do this is to open up our character window. You can either use the right side for that. Of course, you can go to Window, Type, Character, or select Control-T. Once we've got that open, let's click on the drop-down menu, and then let's select all caps. Once done with that, let's go ahead and grab our selection tool, and let's align our type center horizontally and vertically, just like that. Now, if you don't see your align tools, you can always click and drag it to the center of the page, or of course, you can go to Window, Align, or Shift F7. Once that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with our transformation. First thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and open up our transform window. You can use the one on your properties right here, but you're going to have to expand that so that you have access to shear. That being said, all you need to do is go to Window, Transform, or select Shift F8. Now that we've got that, let's go ahead and scale our type before shearing it and rotating it. First thing we're going to do, let's go to our height right here. Let's select the entire number, and then let's change it to a percentage. We're going to enter in 86.602%. Let's go ahead and hit enter. Notice that squishes our type down just a little bit. That's all we need. Don't ask why, it just works when we do isometrics. By the way, this measurement was given to us by our friend Dansky. He's a little bit more well-known than me. Regardless, go ahead and give him a check out at the URL below. Now that we've got that done, let's go ahead and change our shear to 30 degrees. And then let's go ahead and change our rotate to 30 degrees as well. Let's go ahead and hit enter. There you go, straight away. You've got isometric type from the bottom left to top right. Now that we've got that done, let's go ahead and give it some of that isometric depth. The way we do that is let's go ahead and open up our appearance window. On the right side, you can click on the appearance symbol right here. Otherwise, what you can do is go to Window, Appearance, or Shift F6. Once we've got that open, let's go ahead and change our fill. And let's click on our fill color, and let's change our fill color to CMYK magenta. It looks pretty good right there. Let's click anywhere on the artboard to deselect the color panel. And then let's go ahead and add a stroke. The way we do that, we go to the bottom left-hand corner of our appearance window. Let's click Add a new stroke. Let's increase that stroke thickness to 2 points. And then let's go ahead and drag our stroke down beneath our fill. All we need to do is click and drag it down beneath the fill, just like that. Once we've got that done, let's go ahead and select our stroke one more time, and let's add an effect to it. All we need to do is go to the bottom of our panel, select Add New Effect, Distort and Transform, and we'll select Transform. Once we've got that, we want to select our horizontal transform and enter in -1. That gives us a movement of -1 point. And then let's go ahead and change our vertical movement to -0.576. Again, that's just a little over half a point. Now, if you want your movements tighter than that, all you need to do is just scale down by fractions. If you want to cut that distance in half, all you need to do is go 0.5 horizontal, and then vertically it needs to be 0.288 of a point. Now that that's done, let's go ahead and add 40 copies right here. Let's select that, enter 40, make sure our preview's on, let's tab off it, and check out that look right there. Let's click OK. And that is our bottom left to top right isometric type. Let's go ahead and keep building on this. First though, let's go ahead and move our type to the top of the page. All I'm going to do is hit Shift and then arrow up to the top of my page, just like that. Let's go ahead and deselect our type. Now that we've completed that, let's go ahead and do bottom left to top right flat type. That in mind, let's go ahead and grab our type tool, click anywhere on our artboard. This time around, we're going to write flat. Let's grab our selection tool. Let's go ahead and align our type horizontally and vertically to the center of the page, just like that. Now that we've got that done, let's go ahead and open up our transform window once again, select our height, and let's enter once again 86.602%. Let's enter a shear value of -30 and 30 degrees. Note right away, you've got your isometric type from bottom left to top right, which is flat. Let's go ahead and open up our align window once again. This time around, we're going to use our right side menu for that. Otherwise, use the key command at the bottom of the page. Now, with our type selected, let's go ahead and add our fill color. Once again, let's go ahead and select Add New Fill. Let's click on our fill color, and this time around, we're going to go CMYK Cyan. Right there. Let's click on that. Perfect right there. Click anywhere on the artboard to deselect that color panel. Make sure your type is still selected. Let's go ahead and add a 2-point black stroke. Once again, we'll click on the bottom left, increase our stroke thickness to 2 points, and then let's go ahead and drag our stroke back behind our fill, just like that. Now let's go ahead and select our stroke. Let's add our isometric effect. All we need to do, select Effects, Distort and Transform, Transform, and then let's go ahead and select Move and enter in the following values. We're going to keep horizontal at 0. Let's change our vertical to 1 point. And then let's add 40 copies just like that. Let's click OK. And there you go. We've got our bottom left to top right flat isometric type. Let's go ahead and move that up to the top of the page as well. Let's go ahead and deselect that type. And then let's go ahead and do it again. This time around, we're going to go top left to bottom right, and we're going to go with upright type. Check it out. Let's go ahead and grab our type tool. Let's click anywhere on our artboard. Once again, let's write upright. Perfect, just like that. Let's grab our selection tool. Let's align our type horizontally and vertically to the center of the page, just like that. And then let's go ahead and play with our values. Once again, in our transform window, let's change the height to 86.602%. Let's tab over to our shear, and let's change our shear to -30. And then once again, our rotate to -30 as well. Let's go ahead and hit enter. Perfect, just like that. Now that we've got that, notice there is some overlap. So let's move our upright type down just a little bit. Let's hold our shift key and arrow down. Good enough right there. Let's go ahead and add some color and some depth. Once again, let's select our appearance window and let's add our fill. We'll select our fill. Let's change our fill once again to CMYK magenta. Click anywhere on the artboard. Let's add a stroke. Increase that stroke to 2 points. Let's drag our stroke back beneath our fill just like that. And then let's go ahead and add our effect. Once again, we'll select our stroke, select effects, distort and transform, transform. Let's select horizontal, have a 1 point movement there. And then let's move vertically negative 0.576. Once that's done, let's make 40 copies. Let's go ahead and click OK. That's our top left to bottom right, upright, isometric type. Let's move that to the bottom of the page. And let's go ahead and deselect. Let's do top left to bottom right, flat type as well. Once again, let's grab our type tool, click anywhere on our artboard, and let's write flat. Let's grab our selection tool. Let's align our type horizontally and vertically to the center of the page. And let's go ahead and transform our type. First thing we're going to do is we're going to change our height to 86.602%. Then let's change our shear to 30. And then let's rotate our type negative 30. We'll tab off of that. That's perfect right there. Let's go ahead and add some color and some depth. Once again, let's open up our appearance window. Let's grab our fill. Let's change our fill from black to CMYK cyan. That's perfect right there. Click anywhere on our artboard. Let's add a 2 point stroke. We'll click on add new stroke, increase that stroke to 2 points. Let's click and drag our stroke beneath our fill just like that. And then let's select our stroke and add our isometric depth effect. We're going to go effects, distort and transform, transform, and let's add our transform. We're going to leave our horizontal transform at 0 points. Let's go ahead and change our vertical transform to 1 point. Once we're done with that, let's go ahead and make 40 copies. Let's click OK. Let's go ahead and deselect and note straight away that we've completed our top left to bottom right flat isometric type. Okay, so what can we do with this type right here? Notice that we didn't do anything to convert our type into a shape. That means the type is still editable. With that in mind, let's go ahead and grab our type tool and let's click on the word upright. We'll double click on it to select everything. And let's change the word upright to the. That's perfect right there. Let's go ahead and deselect. Let's grab our selection tool and let's deselect that type. Next thing we're going to do is let's change the word flat to idiots. Once again, we'll grab our type tool, double click on the word flat and change it to idiots. Go ahead and grab our selection tool. Let's deselect. And there you go right there. Next, let's go ahead and change the upright type at the bottom to guide. Let's grab our type tool, double click on the word upright, change it to guide. Go ahead and deselect that. And that looks perfect. Let's go ahead and start moving type around. All we need to do is grab our selection tool and let's click on the word idiots and let's arrow it into position. You can either click and drag it or you can use your directional keys. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and use my directional keys. Looks pretty good right there. Let's go ahead and deselect. And then let's go ahead and move the flat type out of the way. I'll click and drag that out of the way. And then let's go ahead and move the word guide into position. In this case, I'm going to click and drag it close. And then we'll arrow it into place as I see fit. Looks good right there. Let's go ahead and deselect that type. Now, next thing we need to do is we need to change the word flat to problem solved. It's going to be our slogan for this little piece right here. Now, how do we do that? Once again, let's go ahead and select our type. Let's double click on the word flat and write problem solved. Notice straight away that our type is way too big for the space. How do we size it down? Now, because it is editable type, we can size it down just like we would size down any other type. So let's go ahead and triple click on our type. That selects everything. And let's go ahead and go on over to our type tool, either at the top or on the right side. And let's change our type size from 100 or 99.9 points to 30 points. Let's go ahead and deselect. That type looks good, but unfortunately, it's got too much depth to it. How do we fix that? Piece of cake. All we need to do is select our type, and then let's go back to our appearance window. Let's open up our stroke window where we added the transform effect. Let's click on the word transform, and let's change the number of copies from 40 to 10. Let's tab off of it. Let's click OK. And now let's go ahead and move the word into place. Let's go ahead and deselect. And that looks perfect right there. However, what if I wanted to change the color of our isometric depth? Once again, that's a piece of cake because we've got the appearance window. Let's go ahead and select the word the. Let's change that isometric depth from black to blue. All we need to do is select our stroke. Let's click on it one more time. And then let's change the color from black to something a little bit more blue. Let's go ahead and deselect. And that looks really good. Let's do the same thing to idiot and guide. That looks great. Let's go ahead and change the stroke color of our slogan. Piece of cake. Once again, all we need to do is select it. This time around, let's change that isometric fill or our stroke color to something maybe a little bit more brown. Let's go ahead and click on it. Let's go ahead and deselect. And that looks really good. What's left for us to do? Not too much. All we need to do is with our selection tool, let's click and drag across our entire shape like that. Let's go to Object, Group, and then let's go ahead and align our type center horizontally and vertically just like that. Let's go ahead and deselect. And with that, we are done. Well done. Now use these tools to lift your designs. Check out the few examples right here, then give it a go and send me your stuff. Now that we've got that covered, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below. Otherwise, throw me a like. I'd really appreciate that. Otherwise, subscribe. I'd appreciate that just a little bit more. We'll see you next time. Peace.